1st of 2015. Well, yeah. So, basically, Christmas was unfortunate a little bit, but no one really wants to hear about unfortunate stuff. It's a new year, and good things have been going down. I did a labyrinth walk around the apartment, pondering on some of my goals for the new year, and of course, one of them is to get into school here at the U, and not really sure why I want to go to school here at the U, just because, I don't know, it just seems like not the best option, but it's kind of the only option I have being here, because I don't really know if I get into UVU, if Kevin's going to get a job at doTERRA, and if they're hiring at the beginning of the new year, which is what many companies do, then I think that it could work out well for us financially, and there wouldn't be a strain on going out to eat and things like that. We went to Ichiban, and I had a really good shrimp roll that had sliced I think strawberries, and then I also helped Kevin because he burned himself on the cigarette lighter, and then with aloe vera, and we wrapped his thumb when we got back. Before that happened, I went to a pipe shop, and I got myself this pipe I've been thinking about for a long time, and it has really beautiful an eye of a tiger, and it's a Viking pipe. It was pretty decent deal, but I walked out the door with all the accessories and tobacco. I was spending about $100, so it was definitely a purchase I thought a lot about, and it's my favorite way to smoke, a classy way to smoke, and frankly, it's there's a lot of options for tobacco, but I just wanted something a little bit more traditional, a little bit more respectful. Basically, I also got some rolling tobacco too, just because when you roll your own cigarettes, they're so much better. What else? Yeah, so I'm dressed up in my gayer attire, I guess. I got a really nice leather jacket from my dad, and I guess you could call that a Christmas gift. My parents sort of got me a bunch of Christian-ish statues and things that have to do with their church and don't have as much relevance in my life, considering I'm studying Astor through, and I've studied Christianity for about as long as I'm really interested in studying it, unless it's Catholicism, because it has more pagan roots to it with its ceremony, and I'm a little interested in Freemasonry and various types of Christio-paganism and alchemy, and that kind of interface between the old and new has always been intriguing to me. Well, you can see how much better I look when I'm put together and I brush through my hair. I definitely have been using retin-A a lot lately, and I think that it's definitely dropped years off my face, which is cool because all it is an exfoliant that pulls new skin to the surface of the skin, and that is exciting to see those changes, especially from a career standpoint in the arts, and already looking like I'm 23, I can drop myself down to the 21, 22 year age range, so I match my personality more with modeling and with acting. As a director, I'd probably grow scruff or something, because that's in now, and then if I felt like it, I'm not really into beards, but I would do something along those lines. So it's been a beautiful new year. I made some good goals to kind of figure out, lock down on stuff from a career standpoint. That has to come first. I've been telling my dad that for years, but it really is important that I move forward with that. And starting an LLC and looking at the pros and cons of several options will probably give me the best perspective on to do a business, to do with martial arts, to do continue with acting, how to get a camera, when to get a camera, because that would basically, it's like upgrading my tech, and tech is expensive. Like my computer was like $3,000-ish, my computer, and then like now they've got a retina display, and it's always upgrades with technology, and so it's like, fortunately it does basically what I needed to already. From the standpoint of this whole video journaling thing, I decided to keep it more concise to smaller increments, so you can get more of a snapshot of the best pieces versus monologuing, which I did a lot earlier, which I still may do if I'm bored. But there's a lot to talk about when you're trying to encapsulate somebody's life. And if you're going to make a biography, an autobiography someday, I hope people look at my life and think, okay, well, here's a man who's like bisexual, who's very gay and very versatile and very comfortable with himself, and wants to share it with the world, but feels like it all happened so fast. It's like I came out within the first year, and within the first few months of knowing, almost, it was like a revelation that I liked guys, and then to find out I liked them better was shocking. I mean, I think that I probably would be married by now to a guy if I would have known that I was gay earlier, just because I was more pure and idealistic earlier, and if I had been introduced earlier, I probably would have made friends and been more intelligent with my choices, but not knowing LGBT people. But those intelligent choices are starting in a new year, and the old year I put to a close. I don't talk about the old year and the old years. I basically put it behind me, thinking like the last 2 years were pretty messed up overall, with a few exceptions with some close friends, Mike in particular, and my other friend in my life, Wang. And that was worth San Diego, to get two really close friends who you trust and who are ballsy or useful. Like, from a professional standpoint, they have more in the terms of the areas that I have less in. They're good friends of mine, and I'll be flying into California within the next 10 days or so. I might see some of my old friends. Reached out and talked to a few of them recently. I feel like, unfortunately, I've been it's been an on and off day in terms of like logistical things, and hoping to have a funner time than I did, but then again thinking like it was way better than I would have had planned for today, because I didn't even know it was New Year's, and I would have slipped into a new year. I mean, I let everyone know it was the last day of the year, but it didn't register that meant New Year's. We didn't spend it with my family, which makes sense because everyone's scattered or not really as chumsy anymore. But I think my dad barely held the family together growing up by the skin of his teeth for as many years as he could. But like, once my sister grew up, or perceived herself that way, she detached herself completely from the family, whereas she always was fairly detached. At least she's detached herself from me completely, based on the fact that I don't need to talk about it, but I'm resolving some things with the counselors firms in terms of just basically going over some counseling things as far as communication and things are concerned. But overall, things have made improvements, but it's just like, sometimes you have less patience with people who are just rude to you or deeply insulting, and my sister falls in that category. But also in the very mentally unwell category, so although I do love her and I hope that she gets stable consistently to where she's rational enough to realize who her friends and enemies are, but I think people with massive anxiety, everything is stressful and a big deal because they're already in a state of fight or flight for extended periods, which can be draining, I think, to anyone. And I care about My brother has reached out to me for New Year's, called my parents, just try to reconnect with some old friends of mine, and didn't really get a lot of response as far as that's concerned. I feel like it's been a little bit of a tiresome journey to get to a point where I have a boyfriend who isn't physically and sexually abusive to me. I feel like that's the biggest thing in any relationship, bigger than anything else, is making sure that you don't have somebody who's manipulating you psychologically as well and things like that. And so he's a beautiful change to my life from 2014. And I'm basically leaving this video and leaving all those feelings and thoughts at the door, really, unless they're relevant to something today. I'm going to work on being present this year even more. I'm going to work on my goals and putting things into action more than talking about them specifically, unless it can benefit people. Like, why I'm making these videos is for, to practice for YouTube in a little bit. Like, I don't care if somebody throws them up here later once I'm dead, but I'd like to throw them up earlier, but like just so that it's more real time for people to. But I don't want to do it from a standpoint of followers or pride or anything. All I really want to do is help people. It would be fun if people complimented you, because verbal compliments are in short supply, and whenever I'm complimented verbally, like physically, specifically, it boosts my it boosts the absence that was left by my family having basically disowned me, which was a given, and maybe that was unconsciously my goal because they weren't very nice people to me overall. They're critical right now as far as keeping me in a state where I have medicine and things like that, but they wouldn't be necessary in California. So it's like I'm here primarily because of my mom, and that's basically that's why I put my life on hold. And I felt like I always like want to give myself this chance that maybe I could end up with, not necessarily. Like, I wanted to give myself a chance, but I just realized that I prefer men, and I'm a homo romantic heterosexual, and that's the official definition of what I am. Bisexual is kind of an umbrella term. I mean, you could call me omnisexual would be the most accurate, but like, because I can go by several different labels, it's almost like you're not really worth talking about, especially since I dealt with orientation stuff all last year. And so I kind of think this future year is the year of the fire tiger. It's like I'm leaving all of that stuff and burning it away at the door and doing my best to like incinerate the past in flames and look forward to a bright future on like a mountaintop, because I reached the tops of mountains. I'm fire. Fire and earth combined make lava, and so I shoot higher than anyone else can have really perspective. Any other sign wouldn't really have that sort of viewpoint, except for maybe somebody steady like Earth, but then you ejaculate your heat and your magma up into the sky, so you arguably get even higher than Earth, or as high as Earth does in the sky. But Earth's still rooted to the ground with that stability, whereas you fly wherever Earth takes you. And that's the thing, if Earth grabs onto you or you get trapped under the Earth, you'll... Anyways, basically I got drunk tonight. I went to a few bars, went to Squatters, Ichiban, had a glass of champagne and some beer. Really like stout beer a lot. The polygamy port or something from Squatters is really good. I like that. I also like oatmeal stout, but that wasn't in. And there's like a coffee beer that I really like from them as well, and Hefeweizen. Wheat Hefeweizen's a German beer, and it's really delicious. Of course, I always get the barbecue chicken pizza without any cheese and with lots of spinach on it for me and Kevin. And it's like Kevin today told me there was a chance that we could get married, or that marriage was a potential. I didn't. I think he was referring to us, I believe. So I was like, well, maybe it's worth my time to stay here. If I had more of a time frame, I think I'd feel better about essentially putting my life on hold for a relationship, which I've done my whole life, because that's what I felt I needed to do. From my understanding with gay culture and my exposure to it, they care about if a guy's hot, if he's fit, if he can clean and cook, and if he is good at sex. I didn't really, and that he doesn't cost too much money, and I'm a lot cheaper than I used to be going for when it came to like what I was willing to settle for. Because I've never loved anyone that's a guy who's been LGBT as much. I don't think. Yeah, I know that actually. Because I've never cried about a guy before either, or missed him as bad as now. So finally, it's like Kevin's been going through all these health issues, and it's just hard because I want to be more engaged in doing things and having Kevin dance with me more, and if he chooses to. It's been exhausting because I just am tired of running around. This past year we tried to arrange a three-way, and that didn't really work out because we totally didn't like, basically we didn't get, they didn't get back with us. The guy just called it off because he was a previous lover of Kevin's, and he just didn't really want to go for it. And so then Kevin's like kind of blackballed the idea, and I was like, we should go get an Asian boy, and we joke about that all the time, but I'm like, not really knowing what the next year's gonna hold. But I do know that because of Kevin's family primarily, Kevin getting me this ring, and then Kevin's family giving me like $100 has helped me have like a nice New Year and drink and go to some nice restaurants, take Kevin to a nice place, and basically just relax a little bit. I've been going like with family and just not really being as involved as they probably want me to be, and I assume that unless I start having kids of my own, adopting with Kevin, or surrogacy, if we feel genetically it would be a better fit to do that. If Kevin has extended family that's LGBT friendly, who's attractive, I mean, my sperm could be shot into like a cousin of his or whatever for the purpose of creating Kevin and my child in a way. I mean, or artificial insemination, which is basically they take your seed and inject it while it's still alive into a woman's vagina, and that she grows that child in her as kind of holding it as a vessel, and I believe turns it back to her and gets paid for it or something along those lines. That seems expensive and excessive, but depending on Kevin's family's perspective, it would be like, I feel already unified enough with Kevin just having sex. It's not like I need a child. We joke about gay babies, and it's like, I still have a soft spot in my heart for kids, like, but I don't really want to raise a kid. I'd rather raise a teenager from like 14 to 18. I'm not really interested in raising them past adulthood, much older than 25 at the most. And hopefully they're a healthy kid that doesn't need extended attention, because some kids don't get off the ground till their 30s, with a career and everything else. just because like maturing happens at different rates. Everyone wants to standardize things, saying you are an adult at 18. But that's not really an adult. It's just like the law's interpretation of what an adult means and when you can drink alcohol. But that has changed throughout time. Like, there's been, and I think, like, of course, if I was to have a kid, I would treat him respectfully and humanely and raise him or foster care so there's not a lot of strings unless there's emotional strings that develop because of that feeling that need. But I feel donating to all of that, it wasn't really donation, but in I respect it was because of the pay being so small. Taking care of handicapped kids was a good job I had for about a year or a year and a half at Rise Incorporated a while back, and I felt like that was in a way already meeting the need of being a father along with all of the taking care of my brother and sister growing up. In my opinion, I did more through the time my mom was in having depression than she gives me credit for, because my intentions have always been really good for my brother and sister to turn out to be, basically I wanted them to turn out like my parents wanted them to, because that's what it meant for me to be a good older brother, and to be a good older brother meant praise, and they fed us things and used basically primitive scare tactics, but I don't want to like go into their faults because everyone has them. Just guilt tripping and other things are things I have to root out of myself now, because years of my mom giving it to me and being exposed to her again after California, which I didn't have those attributes in California that I was aware of. Those tactics were being utilized against the people that I care about, like Kevin, and the thing is like that's not cool. And so this coming year I'm definitely going to be on top of correcting speech and I've already seen progress. Like, I've counted the times. There's been like 4 or 5 times I've been able to hold my tongue or say something different that was more effective, rather than saying like what I felt in the moment. Because what you feel in the moment isn't necessarily even how you feel about something, it's how you feel in a particular moment. Like, many times people like will be in a relationship and they'll get really frustrated about some little thing and they break it off instead of trying harder, but yet they'll end up back together in less than a week, because that sexual need and draw is so close and that sadness is so immense from a breakup. It usually draws you 2 original people back together, and that could be a good or bad thing depending on whether the people overreacted or not about the situation. But the thing is it's just the way I view it is that people need to make the decisions that are right for them and not allow other people to tell them what to do. But rather than going on and on about what I think other people should do, because there is always a lot of things that I could say about that, but it's not really polite to do that unless somebody asks you for advice, because that's unless they're opening the door for you to tell them. But until the door's open, it's usually kind of rude, unless they're not meeting your needs professionally. Like, I had to get a new waiter today at Squatters because she was just like kind of bitchy, for lack of a better word. She just didn't, I don't know, she didn't know her alcohol. She talked kind of snobby-ish, and she had like this ring on her nose or whatever, but it was just like, she's just like, I'm ready to go now, and it's like, I don't know what better means, but of course she knew what like it meant, but she didn't know like her alcohol, so I was just kind of like, well, let's get a new waiter. And so the second guy was good and got us exactly what we needed and explained the beers better. And that was good, that made me feel like that. And then the manager came by and talked to me for a few sentences. I kept it professional and they handled it. I made sure he has to check on people and make sure they're not just hammered and saying stuff about the waitresses. But yeah, it worked well. And we had pizza, and now I'm getting a little bit of a headache from the pain in my head. So I'm going to call it night, and gonna go see if my boyfriend wants to watch some shows. And yeah, it's been a beautiful beginning to a new year. The New Year's ball did not drop, which kind of sucked because we drove there in a rush to get there in time, and then it didn't really drop that I saw. It was really pretty. It was a big like ball of like mirrors, like a big disco ball, and then I don't even, if it did drop, it only dropped a few feet, and I never saw it drop, so I didn't really think it dropped because we checked the new year, and then everyone started leaving after like 10 more minutes because they were like, oh, I guess it's not dropping, you know. But we are trying to focus on the positive, and so that's a few positive things. I got the pipe I was excited to get with the tiger's eye, which I will grab and show you because it is here. And I'll show you my leather jacket too. Yeah. Oh yeah, I bought it with you. I just wonder where the big coat is. I see a big coat anywhere. Did I leave it in my car? Oh, okay. That's cool. Anyways, I'll have to show you my pipe later because I actually don't know what I did with it. I think it should be up here because all my tobacco's up here. It's gotta be before I know. First in the show. Let's do this stuff. Du sprichst im Traum, du sprichst kein Wort. Ich folge dir mit Bauch, weil nichts es ist, mein erstes Ziel. Ich folge dir. I'd like to make stuff in my car, but not tonight, because I had too much to drink. Can you bring me something to drink to kick me out to this tizzy? Okay, so my dad bought me this leather jacket, and the pipe is sprout legs. It's supposedly somewhere. Okay, so yeah, so it's beautiful. It's leather. I don't know if I've showed it to you before. I was wearing it in the other video. I was able to get it for a steal. It's a $400, and it's close to $500 when all said and done with tax, maybe more. Really attractive coat. And I found it for a steal. It was like $150 plus tax, and then it was like $450 plus tax originally. So the coat right around rounds out to be around $500 about, like, you know. It's awesome. This particular handkerchief, I put essential oils on. I talked about that before. I just think it looks stylish, so I left it on. Yeah, that's all I have to say for now, and got a couple of polo warfare things in here. I have one of my favorites is Black Orchid, you know. It's like pretty much out if there's any in here at all or ever was. But it smells good. I don't even know what company that's from, but it's like a Tom Ford, I think. Black Orchid. It's one of my favorite smells. Colognes, I guess you could call it. Or fragrance, because it's Black Orchid or whatever, but it's like a male cologne now. It was remarketed. It smells more vanilla-y and pretty good. Polo Red. It's sort of a floral scent. It's basically looks, hey, here, come have sex with me, because I'm attractive and was hoping to have sex tonight. But that's what I was hoping for New Year's night. And basically, I'm always hoping for it, but it's just like hard to be with somebody who doesn't want to bottom as often as I want to top. And then I have to like wait till I go to bed, and sometimes I masturbate too much, and it's like, and then I have the condom issue that I'm just kind of like not knowing if I should wear condoms or if they'll be clean, and then it's just kind of a pain. Not basically there's some issues, but they're minor because I can top at night now, and usually he's clean anyways because like basically his diet. Having a naked photo shoot coming up in 6 days. I mean, it might not be naked, it might just be semi-clothed, most likely a clothed or shirtless photo shoot with maybe underwear or swim shorts. I have mixed feelings on that. It's just like, I don't want to be, like, offend Kevin or be in a situation that would make him feel uncomfortable. But, like, and he gets actually jealous, which is kind of cool. I think he loves me, but, like, I think he likes to keep the spark by not getting too committed, I think, because that would mean sacrifice, and he likes to have stability financially before investing in something that he wants to make sure is really, like, loyalty based. And I guess I'm just in the boat where I'm hoping that we're going to end up in a better place at the end of this next 6 months as we were in the beginning. I'm already in a good place with him. I already feel set on him. Was actually hoping he would propose to me, but then when he wasn't specific about where I should put the ring, it's like I want somebody to really like get down on one knee and propose to me when they do, or unless I propose, which is more common. But I want to take things slow because I don't want to ruin this at all. But the thing is like, it's hard because I really don't like the winter here and don't see why anyone would put up with it. I mean, family aside, when you become an adult, you will miss them, and there will be a sense of loss, but that always happens from when you move away from your parents. Only because your parents have known you the longest, they've been the greatest support to you, and frankly, you trust them. And that can't be said of a lot of people who are gay, or basically people in general. And, in Utah, it's more common that you can trust people and they're not going to do something as shisty. But we also live in a time where there are these sites that I personally believe have done more harm than good almost, because they basically were raised in a society where I don't really think pornography hurts anyone. I think that it's if somebody becomes obsessively, it becomes a hobby and to the point where they can't function. They'll lose their job because they can't jack off enough. That kind of feeling. Like they can't wait to jack off in the morning and at the evening or like over their lunch break, but they have to do it like all the time. I view it as a kind of a bad thing. And I don't think that that's really a problem. I think that the issue comes with people not using pornography and then trying to go out and find the real thing when they're in a relationship. And I think if that's an arrangement that either you've made in the beginning of a relationship where you have clearly stated that, hey, if A plus B equals C. It's like A is me, B is enough sex, and C is that I am in a close relationship. It's a simple equation, 1 plus 1 equals 2. But the problem is if the other person wants it committed, then like there's problems because they like don't view you. They view you as cheating even though you're not, because it's what they would prefer you to look at it as, because they want to have you all to themselves, but they don't really want to put forth the effort to make you feel, sexually satisfied on either important days to you. For me, they're pagan holidays, full moons. Most of my pagan holidays, it's like if I don't have sex, I will be internally, not maybe outwardly, um, hurt. But I kind of feel like, well, what's the point of a relationship if I can't have that? It's like, why not have a good, deep friendship with a few people who are heterosexual or women, just friends, rather than invest in a friendship with somebody who can't meet your sexual needs. But then you think hooking up has its dangers too. That lifestyle, if done too much, creates risk. Kevin and me have been tested, and to not try as hard as we can to be monogamous and respected by everyone, mostly the majority being heterosexual, is more accepting of gay married couples that are monogamous than they would be about a polyamorous relationship, swingers dynamic, or people who just hook up, or people who are arguably, well, asexual people they just feel sorry for and feel like they're probably homosexual, but their church has exiled them to a life of celibacy because of their innate attractions, not being heterosexual, which I feel is messed up. But the thing is I probably won't stop talking about orientation, mostly because I want to. It's not like I have a lot to get out of my system I haven't already said, and I'm sure some of this is circular in my journaling. And I mean, I'll probably watch it, so I'll pick up on it, and I don't know how to edit or splice, so everything's the raw footage. It's just like, bam, there. So that's me, that's me in bad days and good days, and I am happy my boyfriend's bringing me coffee.
Okay, I'm over your stuff now.
Thanks.
Yep.
So, basically, I feel like, I locked into a relationship with my boyfriend. I haven't bought him for anyone else since June 2nd. And so he's been the top. I've been the more often bottoming versatile man, up to this point. It's the year of the fire tiger. Maybe I'll get a top more when he's sleeping. Maybe I won't feel so frustrated because I can flip him over, take off his pants, and stick it in, and then I'll feel like that love is fostered. Without that, I don't have loyalty. Unfortunately, if I don't top someone, I have zero. It's basically I have to force myself to be loyal, but it doesn't come naturally at all. When I top, it feels like it comes naturally. Does that make me a top? Well, today I'm more topping, but I am versatile today. I could still bottom and enjoy it. There are some straight up top days, straight up bottom days. Today was mostly bottom all day, and then the stress of all the arguing and pointless stuff from lack of planning made it for a less enjoyable evening because it didn't run smoothly. But when people first start dating, they don't know social norms of the culture you were raised in. They don't understand why a certain day would even be important to you, why you couldn't do it another day. Everything, if it's interpreted as pressure, then it's hard to plan and have it not be pressure unless you stayed in a lot. And I feel like I thought I'd slow down, but I think I haven't slowed down, mostly because of like caffeine and green tea, things that are more uppers, and I think that keeps me in a higher state. And then I've had more focus, which is what I always wanted, and that focus has come from USANA vitamins, body rocks, and I usually take the essentials pack, which is like a multivitamin and basically other things for my skin, and antioxidants and whatnot. And of course, I take fresh fruits, vegetables, a lot of Asian food, a lot of Indian food. Um, I'm sure people are gonna ask me like about my diet and things like that, and yeah, so that's basically my diet. Sushi tonight, fish, you know, Indian last night. I used to eat a lot of chicken salad, still eat a fair amount of animal products, but I eat a lot more plant products than I used to. Um, Realizing their value and making sure that I don't assimilate too much red meat per month. That my body can clean my arteries quick enough to prevent blood clots and other things that plagued my grandma and arguably killed my grandmas on both sides with strokes. But I'm sure stress of having a family and providing for a family plays into it, whereas Kevin and me, being gay, don't need to do that. Arguably, I'm homosexual. Even though I have romantic feelings towards girls, I'm homosexual in my activity. All I've done is make out with girls. And, I mean, I'm sure if I felt I wouldn't hurt a girl and she was up for it, and I knew that there was a potential for love or a relationship, it's possible that I could be with a girl, but the thing is I don't want to take the chance of losing Kevin because we are best friends, in my opinion. We have so much in common. He's so supportive that if I don't push him too hard or too far when he's sick or not feeling well or too exhausted or on an Adderall crash, or while he's driving, or like making sure the kitchen's clean and that things in the apartment stay fairly organized, that things stay relatively in control so he doesn't feel like we're not living in a German household. Because my mom's last name is German, I can't really say I can't live in a German household too. So it's like, it would be something like, if we combine our last names, it would, well anyways, we could take parts of each or something. But then we'd have to get ourselves renamed, so it's probably better to pick one of our names and then like add the other person's name in front of it when we got our driver's license renewed or on our wedding certificate, which is all I wanted. I mean, I was hoping for a path as quickly as my parents. 3 months, bam, I'm married, I'm gay, I'm young, I'm under 30, I'm married, I'm the new generation. I was even hoping that I might be one of the first ones married for like being gay marriage being officially accepted for Utah in a more final way by the Supreme Court. And largely being supported by other countries like France and Germany, who have already given homosexuals equal rights when they already had them, but they weren't respected as such throughout time. They're misunderstood, they're thought to be not as useful to society, but I can go on and on for hours about how homosexuals are wrong and how we're not treated with as much sensitivity and respect as we need, and how we have to unlearn a lot of things and settle for a lot of ways that may not be as happy as we could be. There's only really one thing that I can say, and that's like, once you lock into a relationship, you are absolutely loyal. I know I'm a loyal person, but I wanted to have my cake and eat it too, and I guess Kevin did too, because he suggested a three-way, which isn't a bad thing that we're at that place. We're at a place that's a couple of steps above dating, but we're in a loose enough thing that I think if there was an attractive guy we both became friends with that was gay and we felt was a good fit for a three-way, and we felt emotionally connected to him first, and a more refined and professional type, mature relationship, according to my therapist, that it's almost like when you're gay you have to make exceptions unless you're married, because those are common to happen anyway, with horny guys who drink like you put two and two together, you get your responsibility. Usually, most gay guys are not responsible when they're before 35, anyways. They usually just sort of like mosey in part time to the work world. Other times they get inheritance, other times they're supported by government benefits. Like, there's a lot of ways gay people can live in a world where heterosexuals have taken the spotlight. Um, and I think the main thing that kind of causes issues when it with I think the main thing that causes issues with people is when they're inflexible and they don't want to evolve, they don't want to expand or think of new ideas of doing things. The other thing is when people want to like lie about or misrepresent their true feelings. So like in a relationship, you want an open relationship, be clear about it. Like, I want an open relationship. If they feel like they want it closed most of the time with the occasional exception, that's also acceptable, like to spice things up a bit or have fun. But like, I think you almost need to be in an environment where fun is a belief. And fun and happiness is a belief, and optimism is an accepted way of life. When you're in Utah, everyone's depressed, everyone's on antidepressants. It's just like a sad place to be. Eight months of the year it's cold and you're inside. You have a lot less sun per year, and that equivalates to lack of a quality vitamin D your body can more readily assimilate. I think the kind you take in capsule is okay, but doesn't really work as well as being outside. And being with nature, having more oxygen creates, I'm sure, faster cell renewal, and a lot more additional psychological benefits. Living in a place like California or Southern California where being happy, fun, it has a surfer boy mentality about the whole place. It's like, let's get drunk and party. I'm sure they're still having a New Year's bash down there. 15 or 20 probably, and it's like, basically there's several gay clubs and some of them are pretty big, and they're all built more for people that are in their 30s. So I think like transitioning there at the time we do, already looking younger, or me specifically looking, 6 to 8 years younger than I am, even being ID'd a lot still, or asked if I'm underage frequently, especially when my hair is longer. That seems to be something that could work if we needed to do that, but and that's basically where I'm at. I'm kind of like, well, look, either marry me or it's an open relationship. Because it's like, I can't put up with missing holidays and full moon celebrations just because you don't feel like having sex with me on that day because it feels like pressure. It's like, I don't want to put up with another year of that kind of stuff. I wanted to slough that stuff off and just... But things have improved enough so that I think with no pressure and not talking about it, that we'll get to a place where we feel comfortable enough with each other where we can just kind of ask for a blowjob and get it. That's where I want to get to. I mean, I feel like, to me, it's no big deal to talk about sex or whip down my pants, but... Hey, you find it?
And yeah.
Oh, thanks. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, that was really kind of you.
Yeah, no problem. Just glad I was in the bathroom.
So, this is the pipe. Say hi, it's a new year. This is my boyfriend.
Happy New Year.
It's a new year. And this is my pipe. This is my little pipe holster. It was locally made out of handcrafted leather. That's what the guy in the shop said when he sold it to me.
It's like little baby's mom just.
It actually was a good deal though. It wasn't overpriced. And this pipe was I'll be done in a minute.
Oh, okay, cool.
This is a beautiful pipe, and I picked it because of the mahogany and because of the fact that it has like a swirl right there, or stripes here, and then like a swirl right here, and it represents a tiger's eye. It's the year of the fire tiger. It looks like fire and a tiger in the way I pictured tiger's eyes to look when it's like after a fresh kill, kind of like mahogany, and the stripes are kind of like the tiger's, either flames or variations in fur. And yeah, I packed a bowl. Um, and yeah, it's beautiful. I'm gonna get a long like wizard, um, Sherlock Holmes style, like really long thing. What do you call it? Spout, pipe extender thing. Um, so that way I can a tip for that pipe, so that way it can go farther, and so that way when I'm smoking, I don't pull in as much ash or tar into my lungs, which is never fun for anyone. Trust me, I accidentally inhaled a little bit today, and I was like, "Whoa, I don't inhale smoke." But when you light up a pipe, it's hard to not, you know. I mean, I don't. I think I need to get better matches than these cheap ones they give you for free at the store, like waterproof ultra burn matches that just like keep burning and burning and burning like forever, then go out, or like something else, something that is a better for that. So yeah, that's my pipe, and I can like pose with it and act all refined and everything, and I think it suits me. A couple of lubes that my favorite lube is this Platinum Wet. I highly recommend that um, as far as a lube that is, you know, good for anal sex. And then this one is for oral sex. It's a flavored lube. It can also be used for like rimming and whatnot. And if you're the type of guy like me who doesn't mind using water-based lube to bottom after you've bottomed, like within the last 3 days or whatever, then this stuff is bomb, because you can pretty much put it all over somebody's scrotum and suck them off on their penis, and also, you know, their mangina, or whatever you choose to call the back door, once they're all like spotless and everything. And when you love a guy enough and you're attracted enough to him, that will seem like an option, and it will feel good, even though right now you're probably thinking, I've never had sex and that's terrible. Okay, anyways, it was beyond me in the beginning too, and it freaked me out. So if you're like a church boy or choir boy or something right now and you haven't experienced that, I just recommend learning how to give a good rim job, because somebody somewhere will appreciate it. Probably if you're a top, you're bottom. And if you're topping, I'm sure you'll get a groan or two of satisfaction from whoever it is you're topping. I mean, saliva is one of the best lubricants if you're in a pinch. Um, Especially if you drink like pop with it or something to create even more glide. Yeah, so it's good to relax the jaw when you're giving head. Consider putting a drop of oil in the roof of your mouth. I've been told that helps. Personally, I think just getting a good lube for oral too would make you get head more, hopefully. I don't know, like, everyone needs head when you're gay. I think guys just inherently need it. I'm probably gonna jack off to porn now. I want to find some softcore stuff that's like yaoi, but on the harder side. So hard yaoi, which is basically young, kind of teenage-looking guys, and guys usually in their 30s, that end up hooking up. Sometimes in their 40s, down to 18 to 40. It's about the age range, but usually it's up to like 35, 30s or whatever, late 30s, and then guys as young as 18. And it's not like, it's just most of the time they're around each other's age, but sometimes they're a bit older, and age doesn't matter at all to me. If I was in another country, I could start topping a guy as young as 14. I don't think I've been attracted to a guy. Yeah, I haven't been attracted to a guy younger than 14 before. I think it's like I'm attracted to guys 14, but in our country, I don't have sex till they're at least 18. But I've only been like with one 18-year-old and one 19-year-old, and it's much better to be with a younger guy in some ways, like they're way hornier and usually more trusting and loving, but they're not as experienced in sex and they usually aren't as ready for a serious relationship. So, like, the daddy son relationship is usually based off of a financial benefit to the younger guys. And personally, I completely understand that because, like, guys who are like older and the hookup type of guys don't mind paying for a nice dinner and like alcohol to get in bed with a hot guy who's like 10 years younger than them. That's like a normal thing most places in the LGBT community. Sort of frowned upon, but I felt no guilt in having sex with older guys. Some guys in their 40s, some guys in their 30s, mostly guys in their 20s because I'm more attracted generally to guys that are like under 32 or 33. So an age gap of maybe like 10 years, 10 to 15 years. Probably 15 years is a more comfortable age range that I'd be willing to top or be topped by somebody. And tends to be a broader range in regards to as young as 18. But I think basically what destroys relationships is hookup sites, Facebook, and not Facebook specifically. Like, if you're clear about your relationship status, you don't get bugged. If you say you're single, everyone's trying to hook you up, and you're trying to be hit on a lot of times by friends of friends. But I didn't get a lot of that lately, which is good. Because it's just been, I've ignored everyone to the point where they've pretty much forgot about me or dropped off the grid. I still get the random call or text from people from my past saying, hey, are you in a relationship still? Or, and I think like for three-ways and stuff, it has to be almost a thing where you go online with your partner and set up a profile together. And that's common on things like OkCupid, and many guys who are younger are really into that. Like, I met a 19-year-old who said he hung out with couples a lot. So it's like whatever floats your boat, whatever gets you off. So basically, like, when you're married, it's a done deal unless you guys decide to start swinging together as a couple. When you're dating and you're gay, it's almost like no one really knows what it is. It's really hard for people who've lived with people before or spent a lot of weeks with them to transition from understanding that a guy is kind of guys want to have sex, and like guys who are horny want to have sex a lot. And so that is pretty important to guys that are horny. And to miss something like New Year's or proms, or just like to miss opportunities to have a romantic night is kind of a big deal. But then to not find a prissy guy is a big deal. For my boyfriend told me today he's bisexual based on the dictionary definition of it, and so we're similar. We're in the same boat, and I was like, wow, that's cool. I always thought you were bisexual, and based on how I understand the word, with the potential to date a girl, but not really the desire and need to, and certainly not as a replacement for each other. Because you can't replace, when you have a best friend you've had sex with, it's almost like impossible to find, and it's really hard to maintain both a friendship and a good sex life. It can be very confusing too, because easily you find yourself you don't want to fall into friend territory. Even if somebody is your best friend, it's like better not to voice it in that way, even though it's like what every gay person wants, and it's really hard to find. Really, 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 really rare. And also, hooking up on the first date is rare that it'll ever work out, and we've been together 6 months. We went to therapy a couple of times, like 2-3 times, and it's usually just something that people agree on, and nobody everyone moves past it. And so it's a new year. It's good. It's exciting. It's also 4:39 in the morning. I'm pretty tired, so peace.